Hey everyone, how's it going? Bit of an odd one here. Took my bike in for a service, and apparently, due to a bit of a chain suck, there is some delamination happening inside the bottom bracket, and according to the mechanic, it's not safe to ride. So we've got a race tomorrow night, and my trusty Scott foil is apparently out of action. So we're back to the trainer bike. I've had this bike for 6 or 8 years now. It's sat on the trainer for the last 4 years. It's done about 40,000 kilometres all up. It's a rim brake. It's a lovely, relaxed endurance bike. And tomorrow, I'm going to give it a race.
So after spending a fair while putting the old Focus Cayo back together, making sure the shifters worked, making sure the brakes worked, that was a bit of an odd one, I brought it out to the Norwood Cycling Club Christmas Crit. So this is the last race before Christmas. And this is a super windy day. This has got, coming into the main straight here, this has got a raging headwind, and the wind was a real feature of the course today. And right off the bat, I was noticing a few things with the bike. The shifting was not reliable. It hasn't been serviced in about 2 years, and it's probably done 20,000 kilometres on the trainer in that time. And the best I could do was just make sure that it was getting into the big ring when I pushed. So that was the first problem. The second problem was that the brakes weren't quite in the right spot on the bars for me to be able to reach them as comfortably as I'm used to. So rather than having the brakes right there at my fingertips when I'm in the drops, I had to reach a bit for them, and I was put off a bit by that. The third thing was, this thing is flexy. It is an endurance bike. It's comfortable on a long ride, but it's just, you lose so much power through the drivetrain. And the fourth thing is, it's a bus. It's compared to the Scott foil, my dearly departed. It's not aero. It's not a great position, although I've taken as many spaces out of the chimney as I can. And right off the bat, I'm noticing that as I'm coming up this little rise here, I'm already putting in quite a bit of work. I mean, this first lap's pretty relaxed. Coming up this hill here, or up this little rise, on the right, you are unprotected from the wind. And it was hard work. Coming into this headwind section, if you weren't sitting properly in someone's draft, and I'm off to the right, I'm in the wind as much as you can be here, and you can see even at 400 watts I'm going backwards until I finally get back into the draft. Now, I'll give you a little hot tip. If you look at the number of laps completed in this race, this is not going to be one of my best. But I did turn up to this race with a will to do well. I'd raced the night before the cyclocross. That hadn't gone well. I'd managed to drop my bike in the last corner and break one of the brake levers off. But last race of the season, essentially, and I'm here to do well and have some fun. So let's see what we can do. But right off the bat, I'm already a fairly long way back. There's no rear camera today. Unfortunately, the rear camera mounts to my saddle on the Scott, and I don't have a mount that'll carry that camera for this bike. But I'm losing positions right off the bat. Now, we're in the tailwind section. I'm doing 50 k's an hour at 0 watts, which is a bit of a harbinger for things to come. And this time I'm in a slightly better position in this corner. I was on the left, and taking a wide line into this corner is fast, but it also means that when you come out of the corner, you're on the protected side on the left. Unfortunately, I got shifted over onto the right, and now I'm doing 700 watts. I'm doing 800 watts, and I am getting gapped off the wheel. I'm sitting here and pushing as hard as I can, and I'm going absolutely nowhere. 170 beats a minute. We've essentially done one lap in anger, and I am already getting gassed. 30 seconds later, just keep an eye out at Toby on the left on the Giant, the brand new Giant. In the PMA Guest Picks kit. I'll have a bit of a chat about him in a minute, but he puts in a massive turn later in this race. I genuinely didn't think he'd get across. Alright, so we're coming into that bottom corner, and I've made the same mistake. I'm on the right hand side, which is a pretty quick way around the corner. It's an easy corner to take fast, but it means you come out here on the right hand side, and as I said in the last couple of laps, it's the super exposed side, and I am again doing 800 watts, and wheels are just going ahead of me. I'm still doing 500, 600 watts after about 10 seconds, and there's just huge gaps opening up, and nothing I can do. Now, I don't mind racing in a windy day. It makes a really interesting and dynamic racing, but when I'm doing 600 watts in the wheels and still getting gapped, I just have to feel like something's wrong. And you can see my heart rate. I'm up to 178 beats a minute after that bottom corner, and it's just not sustainable. So we're a bit later on in that lap, and this time I've managed to make it to the left, which is the faster way around the corner, but it's a lot longer usually because you never know how anyone else is going to take the corner. But this time I'm coming in and I'm on the protected side, and that's going to be so much better coming out of this corner. Oh wait, no, I'm still doing 600, 700 watts, and the wheels, you know, still at 580, 600 watts, and I'm still getting gapped, and I'm still losing wheels, and heart rate's up at 174, 175, and at this point I get back on and then just decide that this race is not going to be for me. That's 4 laps in, and I've had to chase on the wheels every single time. I'm utterly gassed. 180 beats a minute. There goes Toby sprinting across the gap that I've let open up. And I pull the pin, and that's my race done, and I roll around for the rest of this lap, and then come in with 1,000 excuses, and everything except my legs. The race itself was really interesting to watch. A group of 4 or 5 got up the road with some absolute hitters in there. Nick Chabrel, who's one of the strongest diesel engines on the planet. Frank Smith, Nathan Crick got up there. He's a young gun with a huge amount of potential. Toby Simpson, I mentioned before, he missed that break, and he chased himself across probably a 20-30 second gap. It took him about 2.5 laps to get there. It's one of the strongest solo bridge efforts I've seen, especially in windy conditions like this. I wouldn't have bet he'd get across there for any odds, but he made it across, and I think he ended up coming in second. Nathan Crick surprised me and beat him in a sprint, so the young boy's got some talent. Anyway, that was my one and only race on the Focus. It never was a race bike, but after 41,000 kilometres it certainly isn't now, and it's back on the trainer where it belongs. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. I certainly did not, but we'll see you in the next one, and hopefully there'll be a new race bike soon to come. Bye for now.